Hello everybody and welcome back to CADS. Now I could kick the evening off with some feigned anger, some diatribe on the way things are going, but frankly I'm just feeling kind of numb about it all, and I hope maybe we're coming to an end of this particular regime, and I personally would like to look forward to what comes next. But the gents with me tonight may have slightly different ideas on what we're going to be talking about. So let's introduce them and see how they're feeling, and just see how this all pans out tonight. I have no way of knowing what way it's going to go, but I do have an idea in my head. It may not be as positive as I want, but let's get started. And we're going to start with Marcel. How you doing, Marcel?
Good evening. Very well. Well as could be expected, I suppose, given what we witnessed yesterday. But I think you're getting a hint of where I'm going on this, so I'll let the others.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to talk about that match. You know, there's no way we can avoid it. Charlie Bewley, how you doing?
Good. It's great to be here. I'm not quite sure why I'm here at this point because we're banned from talking about the obvious. But I just thought I'd turn up and just be amongst fellow sufferers, I suppose. But it's almost gone past suffering as far as I'm concerned, into a place of intrigue and interest. Like, how interesting this is that he hasn't been fired yet. That's interesting to me.
Suffering, I think, is passé. I think we've gone beyond that. That nothing is banned. Nothing is banned tonight. If we end up going down that route, we'll go down that route. But we've kind of done it. We've talked about it a lot.
Elephant in any room.
Yeah, the elephant is in the room. It's just there. Austin, how you doing?
Better than the team.
Better than the team. Oh dear.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just sort of waiting for the trigger to be pulled and wondering what's happening next.
Okay. Hey, how you doing?
I'm like a counselor at a center for addicts.
Oh, A's gone quiet is what A's done.
Can you hear me?
What was that, mate? I can't go for it again.
I'm like a counselor at an addiction center, really invested in my patient, and I'm waiting for it to hit rock bottom so we can find the way up. But every session, the floor seems to fall even lower and lower.
Don't talk about the floor. You know where that's going to take us. The floor has been raised, apparently. Oh, no. What were we saying? Yeah, it kind of feels like one of those addiction meetings. You stand up and say, "Hi, my name is Stuart, and I'm a Tottenham Hotspur fan." Ashley, we've already talked to our professional actor, Charlie Bewley. Now we've got a professional writer, Ashley Colley. How you doing, Ash?
Hey guys, I got two quick things to say. One quick thing is something positive. I heard a new song today by one of our members, and it was called "Ruled by Gangsters." And
yeah. How did you hear that?
and I quite liked it.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. You'd like the subject matter.
I did. Exactly. It sort of sounds like Joe Lewis and crew, "Ruled by Gangsters." That's the one. And the other quick point is, Marcel, Austin would know about this, and probably Marcel. I wasn't living in Britain at the time, but 77 season, Keith Birkenshaw's first season, he took us down to the what was called the second division then. And I'm just wondering, since we need such a big reset, would it be, maybe it's a thing for discussion, would it be such a bad thing that if we got relegated, it might offer a wake-up call and a reset like it did in 77, 78? Because we actually, when we got back into the first division, we actually went on our last streak of any success in the early 80s, where we won 3 cups under Birkenshaw. And that was the last real streak of glory we have had. What's that, 40 years ago? And that was after going down. And I'm just wondering if it's a topic of discussion. Would it be
I feel like we've been relegated, to be honest, already. I don't need to go through an actual relegation.
Yeah, We'll come back on that one, Ashley, after David's introduced himself.
All right.
Yeah, it definitely feels like we're in relegation form. David.
Hey, yeah, I'm on top form because I'm 30 years younger because it's the 1990s again. Season's over by February. We're shit. Club's run by a bunch of complete incompetents. But grunge is back, trip hop's back, big beat. I've got all that to look forward to. The Iron Curtain's just fallen. We're full of optimism for the years ahead. Trump doesn't exist. It's brilliant. I'm absolutely delighted.
Blimey, what are you on?
Please share.
Back in 1996, the year that Klinsmann returned. So it was a 96, 97 season. I think Klinsmann came back to save us.
Yeah, it's Conor Gallagher, the new Klinsmann.
Yeah, Christian Gross was our manager. That was inspiring.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
And now
Kind of feels a little bit like that. Yeah.
Oh, now manager is just gross, not Christian. It's just gross.
Yeah. So, hang on, Marcel. Hang on. What we're going to do, right? So first, we need to talk about is the West Ham game briefly. Get that out of our system. Then we're going to discuss our little meta question that was posed there by Ashley. What would happen if Spurs got relegated? And then we will open the floor up and talk positive things or horrendously negative things, whichever way it goes. So West Ham game, I sadly missed the start of it. Apparently I missed all the good stuff for Tottenham because the point that I tuned in, it was not inspiring in any way. We conceded a goal in ridiculous fashion, and suddenly we're like, we're doing our usual. We don't start playing until we conceded a goal. We play for a little bit. The manager then makes some changes, which manages to absolutely wipe out any momentum we had, and then we concede a ridiculous goal at the end of injury time. Personally, I think it's a goal that shouldn't have stood because, if you're impeding the goalkeeper, apparently that's not supposed to stand.
Hey, come on, Vicario is soft as toilet paper on that goal.
He might be a bit soft.
If they disallowed that,
most
ridiculous.
Most goalkeepers that would have been allowed. But you've also got to remember that was after a stonewall penalty was denied to us.
Yeah, that was
absolutely stonewall. I have never seen a defender reach his arm out, push the ball away with his fingertips, and it not be called a handball anywhere on the pitch, whether it's at our end, their end, somewhere in the middle. It's a blatant handball. There is no way that is a ball coming towards him. There's no way that moving your hand towards the ball is a natural movement. He absolutely pushed it out the way with his hand. We were denied a penalty, and it's not the first time. We've had zero luck with this referee. He's been awful every single time we've had him this season. I think we've had him 3 or 4 times. But realistically, even if we'd scored that goal, we probably would have conceded 2 more because we were awful and they had chances. And this is West Ham we're talking about. A West Ham side that's very likely to be relegated this year unless we manage to beat them to the punch. I'm sickened by the idea that, Wolves picked up points against us. West Ham have picked up points against us. We've got Burnley next week. They'll probably get some points as well. Forest beat us 3-0, and Forest are looking like a disaster side right now. They have the occasional moment. But genuinely, what is going on at this football club? And I speak to you where I am. It's 9:20 here, and Thomas Frank is still in a job, despite the fact that the board have been in meetings apparently and discussing it. And Thomas Frank is still in a job. And I just don't get it. He should have been sacked. He should have been sacked after the Forest game. I've been saying it all day. The best time to sack him was after the Forest game. The second best time to sack him is now. All right, there we go. I said I wasn't going to have a diatribe, but I did it anyway. What do you think?
Our gates are open.
No, the West Ham game, it was awful.
Yeah.
We looked like we were running in cement. There was very little chemistry anywhere on the pitch, and we gave them the initiative. They could have scored a lot more in that first half. The game could have been done in the first half, And it's the attitude that we come up with is so bad. And I think it's quite obvious that the players don't trust the system, they don't trust the manager, they don't trust the training. And it's just that lack of confidence everywhere is filtering right through the team, and it makes everything a lot worse. But it was a shocking performance. I agree with you with the handball, but I'm so apathetic to everything that it doesn't even, you don't even feel like making a big fuss about it because we were just so terrible. It was awful to watch, really awful.
Yeah, truly a difficult watch. Charlie, what were your thoughts? I'm sure you have some.
I'm going to be honest, and this might, this, you can say what you like about the way that this comes out, but I actually was glad that Callum Wilson goal went in, because I was convinced was the final nail in the coffin for, I think a draw, however you can write a draw off, you can write a draw off. But I think a draw may well have, you could probably have gone, well, given the Burnley game, but I thought that would be it. And judging by everyone's body language at the end of the game, Thomas Frank walking around, slapping people, giving them a little sort of like little fingertip ends on, all the players don't want to be anywhere near him. I just don't think Vinai or anybody at the club at this point recognizes just how bad this could actually get. This could get a lot worse. I really do hope we obviously beat Dortmund at the weekend on Tuesday. But I think that February has some serious implications for, some serious us getting our asses handed to us that may be irrevocable. And so I can't believe that he hasn't gone yet. But just in terms of the game, they should have gone 2-0 up. We didn't really start playing until 5 minutes into the second half again. Really playing towards the south stand, it's something to do with the south stand. I just feel like it just incentivizes everybody to actually play football as opposed to listening to orders. And we had a decent fist of it, but it wasn't good football. It was just determination. And it makes me wonder what they're getting coached in terms of attack. He had 3 excellent attackers at Brentford, and they're still playing really well at different clubs, but maybe he just got lucky with those guys, and they just knew how to attack just innately. Unfortunately, we're in a horrible position where we've got the worst attack we've had in years up front, and though I think they've got a lot of potential, you can't see any of them scoring. So it's not like he's getting a free ride there either. So you just think that West Ham 2-1 at West Ham at home would be the final nail in the coffin, but unfortunately it wasn't. So, I don't know what to think at this point. I'm fascinated by who we've got in charge and how they haven't yet done it. I'm fascinated to sort of try and understand what they think is going to happen here.
Yeah, I think they're fixated on the lustrous hair. I think that's the only thing that could be saving him right now. David, what were your thoughts? That was a roll of the eyes there. I saw it.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to think. I was trying to think where to start. I mean, Frank's going to get fired, and he should already have been fired today, I think. And if he's going to get fired, it's not because of our absolutely woeful attacking play. It is woeful, but that's not what's going to get him fired. What's going to get him fired is the total lack of defensive organisation and the inability to keep a clean sheet. If Frank was capable of grinding out 0-0s and 1-0s and things like that, we'd all be belly aching a lot. I would as well. But I'd be going, yeah, well, we have got an absolutely fucking shit attack. Almost the only way we can win is by set pieces and lumping it in there and getting a defender's bounce on it to score. That's how. I mean, the squad is that it is really bad. We should be grinding out. Results, and we can't do that because, for whatever reason, despite having 2 of the best defenders in the world in central defence, having actually pretty good fullbacks, despite Porro's pretty flawed performances, we cannot keep a clean sheet. We cannot defend. And if Frank was going to save himself, it would be being organised, getting the set pieces working. The set pieces aren't working anymore. The defensive play isn't working. And all that does is it just throws into very sharp relief how sterile we are going forward. I mean, this front four of Odobert, Tell, Nuani, and Xavi is just absolutely incompetent. So we're not going to outscore anybody. The only way we're going to win is grinding out results. And Thomas Frank, who I thought was supposed to be an intelligent, pragmatic manager, and I thought I was going to be disappointed by the amount of defensive play, well, he's not even doing that right. So he's got to go. He should be gone today. And there's absolutely no sign at all, despite what he says, there is no sign of any green shoots of recovery, not in defence, not in midfield, not in the attack. And I think that's what the indictment is of Thomas Frank. He cannot get his game plan across. I mean, you've got a World Cup winner and you've got Mickey van der Ven in central defence, and you're shipping goals to shit teams like Forest, like everybody we've been having goals against. What is wrong with him? You know, how can he not get that across? It's unthinkable. So that's what I'm saying. Frank's got to go because he can't organise us defensively. I think Lang has got to go as well, because honestly, I mean, I said it in other podcasts here. If you look at 7 years ago when Poch was in charge and that team, and you look at every single position, we have got much, much worse in every single position. We still think we can pick up a George Bloody Nkudu every season and that he's going to become Sonny or Kane. They're not, you know, it doesn't work, and it hasn't worked. And this squad is an absolute shambles. Nonetheless, it's a shambles, but it's not as much of a shambles as West Ham. And there's no way we should be losing 2-1 to them. And with 2-1, it's a scoreline that flatters us big time.
Yeah.
We could have been 3-0 down at halftime. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. So, yeah, I've massively got the hump.
Austin.
I'm going to say something positive because, I mean, I can't add to what's already been said because it's already been said, and I agree with most of it. But our young midfielder that was playing yesterday until he was taken off at half time looks an absolute quality player. Archie Gray. He looks really first rate in my book. And that's the only positive thing I can think of to say about yesterday, apart from the fact it could be the final nail in the coffin for Thomas Frank.
Yeah, it could be. Ash.
I'm going to go back to what I initially said, 77-78 season. We went down. We had a young guy named Hoddle on the squad. And Keith Birkinshaw came out here and visited LA Spurs. What a wonderful gent. Had dinner with us, actually, and gave us 3 hours of conversation, whatever. And then he said he went to Argentina and with the intention of getting Oscar Diaz, the World Cup winner, which was going to be a statement, a real statement transfer. And Ossie was convinced. And then Ossie went to, as Keith said it, Ossie went up to him and said, "Can I bring my friend?" And the friend was Ricky, of course. So they brought in 2 World Cup winners to a relatively young squad. And then Keith Birkinshaw, who had some good ideas about playing the Tottenham way. And it was like we were forced into that situation. And once again, I'm wondering if indeed maybe being forced into that situation to reset may be the best thing for us. It's happened to the biggest clubs in the world. They've gone down. Champions League clubs have gone down to the Champions League winners have gone down to the second division. So it may be in the cards that is what's coming, and it may be something that's really needed, because it seems the top without Levy are just the same. Unless some new ownership is coming completely in, and we're going to do a Man City or Newcastle or whatever, and just blow blow all those transfer restrictions and PSG and become a team like that. I don't know if anything's going to change at the top there, unfortunately.
I think
All
relegation. I don't think we need to get relegated to know what we need to do. So I'm not at all in favour of getting relegated. I think it could be an existential threat to the club. We've got £1 billion debt, and we could stop existing.
There you go.
It's not.
We will
It's not
attack
impossible.
the relegation if we were relegated issue, but we will talk about it very quickly. But Marcel's not had a chance to talk yet, so let's move over to him. Marcel.
I'll just pick up on that issue, Ashley. The world is different now. Back then, getting relegated to Division 2 wasn't the disaster that's getting down into the Championship is. There's not so much. There wasn't as much at stake. I mean, back in the day, we were regularly picking players from the 2nd and 3rd division to come and join our squad. England at that time, around about that time, had a player. I can't remember his first name, but the surname was Bull, and he played for Wolves.
Oh yeah.
Who at the time in the 4th division.
Steve Bull, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you don't see that today. The gap is wider, the stakes are higher, and to get out of the Championship is one of the toughest things to get out of. So I don't think it's not the same world. It wouldn't work. I really don't think. Anyway,
Agree with that.
So anyway, as for West Ham, there seems to be a total disconnect with what players are capable of and what they're being told to do. There were several occasions where I saw Conor Gallagher and sometimes also Xavi giving directions to players, telling them to go forward, and they looked around and no one moved. They could see what was happening. They were trying to adjust it on the field, and no one moved. They would move out of their position that they've been given on that little fancy whiteboard he carries around with him. I'm convinced of that now because it was just so blatant. Now, interestingly, our friend Graham posted something that he'd read, and it was from people who were at the game sitting just behind the bench. And one of them was saying that Romero's screaming at Frank for 4 corners in a row to get Danso on instead of him. And he said it was strange because the first time Frank actually got Danso changed and warmed up. But then one more time, Romero had a go at him and lost it with Frank. And then Frank turned around to Danso and told him to sit back down, And so there's a real anger and disconnect between player and manager there, so it seems. And another chap said that the whole thing was worrying. The players aren't having him. Romero, to me, looked like he wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. Jed was literally taking the piss out of him. And even Bergvall got frustrated with him as he didn't understand the instructions being given to him, which comes back to what we were surmising the other day. Is his micromanagement just too much to understand? So, it does sound like he's probably going to go in. It could be the players themselves who might actually force it through. From reading various, for what they're worth, ITKs, the general feeling is that he might be gone tomorrow, but that people like Vinai are defending him. And so there's still a core who want to see him stay. So it would be interesting, but the general feeling is going tomorrow. So take that with a pinch of salt that all ITK stuff is, but that's a summary of various things I've been reading.
Marcel, just one quick question. Just what you just said there. So who would take us into the Dortmund game?
Oh, I've absolutely no idea. I mean, I'm no ITK. I'm just passing on what I've been reading. That's all.
So they didn't know. They didn't know.
In there. Now, was he brought in as an interim manager?
Ex-Ajax manager, of course. Yeah.
Anyway,
we
sorry
did
for
a great job with them, but at least he's got, a new face. Look, Man U have just appointed Carrick, and look what they suddenly did. And that's not down to Carrick. That's a mindset. That's what's the Man U players aren't any much worse or better than the squad we've got. But having a new change suddenly brought them to life, and that's what we need, I think.
Yeah, if you're talking about Man U, something that Man U did was they simplified things instead of being overly complex. They packed their midfield. They stopped the midfield being played through, and when they got the ball, they broke at speed. It wasn't anything about particularly complex passing patterns or anything like that. It was literally there's a guy in space, feed him the ball, he can run with it. And
back to basics.
The problem that we've got is when we've got a guy who's in space, we don't give him the ball, we pass it sideways to someone else. Because I think players just don't feel they've got the confidence to make that pass to set him through. And with Carrick coming in, I think it's just given everybody a bit of a reset at Manchester United, and they'll probably do quite well for a while. I'd love to see that kind of reset at Tottenham, but who knows? In answer to Ash's question about relegation, I'm with you, Marcel. I think relegation at this point would be a horrendous thing for us. We've got a massive debt to pay off. We've got a stadium that we need to kind of justify. And whatever people's thoughts are, if everybody in the club had a £40 million sale tag on them, we'd be out of pretty much everybody bar 2 or 3 players within a week.
And Stuart, just one other thing that you mentioned earlier about the blatant handball not being given. There's some interesting stats that the number of fouls needed to receive a card.
Yeah.
And we're currently at 4.0. The average is 5.6. And Arsenal are 7.4 and Man U are 7.7. So we are being ref differently.
Yeah, we are. And, Jared Gillett is, I think, one of the worst refs we've had this season. We've had him 3 times.
Awful.
Every single time we've had him, he's been awful. And
he's an Aussie, isn't he? He's pissed off we sat down.
Quite. Yeah, that might be it. Oh, dearie me. Anybody want to attack the relegation question before we move on?
Yes. I don't want to get relegated. I've seen it once in my lifetime. I don't want it to happen again. It was a different world back then. If you look at the league in the 70s and 80s, lots of different teams could win it. Villa could win it. Liverpool could win it. Everton could win it. We could have won it with a good enough team. We're in a different world now. We're in an elite world where only a handful of clubs are going to win anything. And you've only got to go back to 1992 when the Premiership started. The number of clubs since then that have won anything has contracted enormously. So for us to leave the Premiership would be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, you got to look. When Newcastle went down, it took them some time to get back up. Ipswich probably not going to bounce back up. Blackburn went down and they've been out for 15 years now, out of the league. And if we took our stadium into the Championship, it would be an event for every single club that comes there. And they would raise their game, and the chances of us coming straight up with a massively depleted squad, because you can absolutely be sure Vicario go, Porro will go, Udogie will go, Romero, Van der Ven, all of those players. Conor Gallagher's not going to stick around to play in the Championship. Archie Gray, Lucas Berraval, all of these guys will get picked off. So,
the only thing I'm also not at all, as I said right at the beginning, just it could be existential. But there are 2 clubs that went down and managed to get back up, and have done much better than we're doing lately. One of those is Aston Villa. The season we were in the Champions League final, they were in the Championship. That's the season when we fuss-assed around so much that we didn't manage to sign Jack Grealish. It was kind of Tottenham encapsulated right at the beginning of the shit show. And the other one's Newcastle. And so the only possible advantage I can see of us being relegated is us being bought by somebody else and run in a way where we might win stuff, ending up with a an ownership that plays at the limit of the fair play rules, to actually bring players in. And I'm talking about Aston Villa. They're like, every time anyone mentions us, they say, yeah, but they're going to get into trouble soon. Well, how many years has that been going on? They're not. We're like at 40 or 50% of our capacity in terms of spending. They're about 99.9. That's where we should be, and that's why. And, I want Frank out, but Frank isn't a problem. Not, he's not the structural problem. The structural problem is that we've got a bloody great big world-class stadium, and we're playing lemon pot, wages, and when you pay peanuts, you know what you get, and that's what we're getting.
The thing is, we couldn't improve our wage spending to that kind of levels because we've got to qualify for this the new squad cost ratio system, which means that if you're in Europe, you can spend 65% of your turnover on wages and all other sundries and things like that. If you're not in Europe, you get to spend 70. So, we just can't do it. Aston Villa are going to have to make some big changes to make sure that they fit into that next season as well.
Been saying that for how many years now? Aston Villa, we need to be a bit canny. We're not being canny at all. We're just being so cautious. There's absolutely no, there's no ambition. The only way that ENIC will start spending money is if we look like we're going to get relegated. That's the only way they'll spend money. Other than that, they'll just be complete terrorists.
In the last couple of years, we spent something like 200 million.
So that's not a fortune. That's 2 Harry Kanes. That's not a fortune. That's not a fortune. And also, people talk about transfer value. They don't talk about wages. Our wages are low compared to our rivals. And I'm sorry, 200 million is not a lot. It's not a lot. We've bought, since Kane left, or starting just before he left, we've signed Richarlison, Solanke, and Muani for about the same amount, for about 120 million probably. Not one of them. You can't play all 3 of them at the same time. You can only play one of them, and they're all shit. Why are we not spending on a proper striker? Why? It's just unbelievable.
I think we've seen clubs spend big money on strikers and then seen those very same strikers flop. You just look at the amount of money Manchester United have spent. Arsenal have spent big money on strikers and they failed. There are exceptions. Voltemada started the season on fire, but he's dipped a little bit. It's often the players who cost a bit less that have more of an impact. Your Thiagos, players like that. I think that's what they're trying to do, trying to catch that lightning in a bottle that we had with Son and Kane. But, it's pretty damn difficult to do that. And
we've been failing for 7 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not arguing that we should have spent money, but I think we need to spend money more carefully, more sensibly. Pick out the really good players and actually invest into those and make sure that we are spending the money on wages. To be fair, Vinai Venkatesham in the match program did say that they are going to be spending more money on the squad and on wages because they recognise that they need to do that to be competitive.
Yeah, so why did we sell Brennan Johnson then?
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
And not replace him.
The money we've spent, we sold a player for 35 million. We bought another player for 35 million. We've broken even. Obviously, with Sousa joining us, apparently he was at the stadium yesterday.
Yeah.
But with Sousa joining us, that would be a net spend of 13 million euros or something like that.
Yeah, Vinai puts words on the page. Okay, then I see the players on the pitch, and I tend to believe more what I see from the players on the pitch than his words on the page. We sold Brennan Johnson without replacing him. It's insane.
Yeah, for me, it's very much a case of we're doing a lot of talking right now, but not a lot of walking the very walk that we need to see.
Here's a question.
Go for it.
Paul Mitchell's out of work at the moment.
He is. This is the same Paul Mitchell who had a bit of a bust up with Mauricio Pochettino and Daniel Levy last time he was here, and one of the favourites for the job. One of the favourites for the job is Mauricio Pochettino. If he was to be, if Thomas Frank is to leave.
I was wondering when you say something positive, Stu.
Pochettino. Was that Pochettino?
Oh, dear me. That's so bad.
You had to work to get that in. Jesus.
Literally waiting the whole time, just waiting to say that. Yeah.
I don't want Poch back.
I'm not bothered.
I never wanted him to go, so I'd be okay with him returning, but it's definitely a risk. I
I
mean,
think Ashley's over in the States. He should actually tell the ICE that Poch is an illegal and they'll deport him.
Well, they'll probably shoot him.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah. Do they know he's foreign?
Probably not.
dear me.
Well, it seems to me that that's the play. I think that in terms of morale, you can't bring a better manager in. Doesn't matter what a few people say. I think just the overwhelming sense of love that we'll get back from Poch would be, and his excitement that he would be taking over the Spurs project after the States get knocked out in the group stages. You'd get a decent preseason. And maybe they're just trying to manage it till the end of the season at this point because who do you bring? Who I bring in, but like who do you bring in at this point? It does seem like that Ajax guy is coming at a very fortuitous time, but if they're not, if we lose, if we beat Dortmund, then he's not going to go until probably the end of February at that point, unless we get tonked by, Newcastle, Manchester United, and all that lot. Like if we get smashed by those guys, then you thought toxic was West Ham losing West Ham at home. The emotional damage that's going to get done to our football club if somebody isn't brought in. Anybody, they could self-manage better than this. I mean that. They could literally, and they are self-managing by the looks of it. They are going out in the second half and they are playing against type. And they are doing okay, but they haven't been obviously coached into an attacking method. So they don't, there's some good endeavor there, but they run out of legs after about, 20 minutes of doing that. And I kind of just got the sense West Ham were going to win that in the end. It was just perfectly written. And the big thing about Vinai is that he's been in the club 8 months. He knows nothing about Tottenham at all. Probably about as much as these so-called Lewis family fans. We are not, I just don't think people, well, they clearly don't get it, and they're not even listening to the crowd as they, those boos are deafening. I don't know if anyone's in the stadium, but I mean, it's wild, just I cannot believe I just can't understand how he's still there. I mean, everyone wants him out, literally everyone in the club. So what is going on?
I can see one reason why we haven't got rid of him, and that's because we don't want to subject whoever comes into the fixture list we've got in February.
Yeah, we've got a very worrying program coming up.
Yeah. 1st of February we've got Manchester City. 7th of February we've got Manchester United. 10th of February we've got Newcastle, and on the 22nd of February we've got Arsenal. I mean, that's a nil point month to me. The way we're
only
playing.
3 guaranteed points there, and that's Man City.
Not even right now. I can't even see us getting points there.
But genuinely, we could be in 17th, flirting with relegation by the end of that if results don't go away.
Oh yeah.
We could, and it will be, and then will they listen? They haven't listened before. Will they listen again? I can turn it around. Who do they think he is? I just don't think they don't understand the core issue here, and it's that he is not a Tottenham person. He's not a Tottenham man. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get the fans. He doesn't get the players, and everyone is interlinked in this system of what it is to be a Tottenham player. And I just don't think Vinai. I don't think those any of these Muppets in that board actually understand what it is to be a Tottenham. And plus, they're also having to sort of support the fading ego legacy of what Daniel Levy wanted. And he's left a fucking hollow shell of a club that his ego was filling from that CEO level. And I can see why they think it's a transitional period. because he's gone, and it's like, what identity do we have? Well, we have the original Tottenham identity, and so that's what we always should have. That's what always should have been there. And we've had to compromise with Levy this entire time. And I just don't know who you bring. You know, I know bringing in a manager like Poch, obviously you can't do it for another 8 months. Otherwise, I think he'd already be in there. But I just don't know who you. I mean, I told you who I bring in, and that's Harry. I just think you need somebody who gets it right now, right now. Otherwise, we're in real trouble.
Harry actually said he'd do the job the other day.
Did he?
Of course he would.
Yeah,
Of course he
well,
would.
of course he would. Couple of quid,
Gets him
Yeah.
back in the limelight. Gets him to get. He's you know, you get a transfer window, closing of a transfer when he gets to lean out of a car window one more time. You know, man lives for that stuff.
I mean, this could be why Frank hasn't been fired yet. So just, you know, where do we go from here? You know, no disrespect, Charlie, but I don't think Harry's even remotely sort of credible as a replacement. Not
He's 80
years old.
not in 2026, but
I don't think Harry would take any disrespect from that.
very good. And you know, I'm struggling to think of, you know, who we could get in. You know, I don't know. I mean, I agree, he's got to go, but where do we go from here? I've got no ideas. Coming out blank.
But that is the idea. And it's been that way for 2 months for me. He's got to go. Someone's got to come in who gets Tottenham, and for me, the only person. That's why I said the consensus was building. I see it more and more. The only person who makes sense at this point for like 4 short months is somebody who will command respect in that changing room, who can tell them to attack, who is attack based. That will sort our defense out because we're not defending so much and we're actually attacking a little bit more. And ultimately, you know, we'll have a fighting chance in the Champions League. It just seems right now we're saying the season's over, even though we've got a great chance of getting to the knockout stages. And it's just it's recklessly negligent of whoever's in charge not to sort of, you know, really go for that right now.
If we're looking at people who are available and who could come in and who could actually take this club by the scruff of the neck, I've got one very, very ambitious name, and that is Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
Xabi Alonso is free. He's just come off the back of a fairly chastening experience at Real Madrid, where his actual record was pretty damn good. And frankly, if you were to chuck a decent wedge of money at him and say, we are going to back you, we are going to bring in 2 free players in this transfer window that are going to make a difference, and we will back you to the hilt, and you know, we will work to make this club a success together, and they actually go ahead and do it. They do walk the walk as well as putting some talk in. Then you've got something, but you've got to go to him with a credible project.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're looking at Ryan Mason.
Yeah.
And
Marcel.
Ryan Mason doesn't have his mates at the club anymore, which was one of the advantages when he was in charge. He had Harry and Harry Winks and other players that he grew up with. Whereas now, I don't think any of his contemporaries are left.
Marcel?
For what it's worth, I've just had a WhatsApp message from one of our fellow CADs. Apparently, according to a cryptic clue left by the famous prof, he's gone. So,
you know, I
knew we'd end this podcast, boys. I was doing a podcast.
I was doing a podcast with Fergus from Blue Sky when Thomas Frank was announced. If we're bookending his career with another CADS podcast when he goes, I'd be delighted, honestly. I've tried my best to appreciate Thomas Frank. I've tried my best to see what he's doing, but I just can't understand the approach he's taken. To me, he's trying to get us to play solid club football at a decent sized club. We're not the biggest club in the world anymore. We're not, you know, in the top 10, although we might be financially, but in terms of our actual stature and ability to bring players in, we're not in the top 10 anymore. We're probably not in the top 20. Top 30 we might feature in there somewhere, but that's simply because we're a Premier League club. And the way he's talked about us, the way he's talked us down, the way he's flat out lied to our faces at times this season. Oh, we should have won that game against Bournemouth. We should have won that game against Aston Villa. He said we should have won that game against West Ham.
Yeah, he said it could
I mean,
easily have been 2-1 to us. What the fuck?
yeah, I mean, I don't know what game he was watching because I didn't see that at all.
Just damn bad luck, huh? Every
Yeah,
time.
but
Just
And-
going back to a couple of, something that Marcel said earlier was, you said, Marcel, that Romero was asking to be subbed for Danso
That was
to
what
do the
I
corners.
read,
But what John Ellis, did you read John Ellis's report?
yeah, I always do, yeah.
And he was saying that Romero was saying to bring Danso on to free Romero to go and play up front. And
Yeah, there's a slightly different take on it, but
Yeah.
still it's the same thing, that you've got players screaming at the manager
chaos.
to change things.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's chaos. Yeah, but it was interesting. And I just want to go back to the Paul Mitchell thing, because I really want Langer gone. I really want the people that have been in charge of recruitment, I want them gone. He's a Levy hangover. He's got to go. And I think Paul Mitchell is the right guy. I don't think it was that Pochettino didn't get on with him. It was that Levy and Mitchell fell out. That's why he went. And Pochettino expressed regret when he left at the time. So Pochettino didn't want to work with the director of football, but I mean that's a different era now. Even he knows he can't get away with that anymore. But I want Paul Mitchell back.
I'm
And
pretty sure Paul Mitchell was in charge when Nkudu was brought in. So I mean, the one player that you use as an example of poor.
Yeah, he was also in
recruitment
charge
and stuff.
when Dali Ali was brought in and Ericsson was brought in, and so yeah. I think some of these signings, and I think that's why Paul Mitchell got fed up and left. He said his job became a living hell working with Levy, because I think he was being pushed to do the Nkudu type deals. I mean, he was, apart from the fact that we had some players come through the academy, he was the architect of the Pochettino team. He was the architect of that.
Just say something just on Vinai real quick. Assuming they knew that they were going to fire Levy, they would say to Levy, bring someone in who's going to run this club and take a different position, whatever. They fire Levy and leave one guy that Levy brought in. Are we completely screwed under Vinai? Are we? I mean, I see that guy. He may well be a genius, but he does not look like a Tottenham guy either. I mean, look, that might be massively presumptuous based on optics and whatnot, but I think honestly, like the whole thing seems very, very hollow right now, given the fact that the sons and daughters of Joe Lewis have gone, please, Daddy, please, can we keep it? And now they're owners of Tottenham Hotspur. The whole thing seems fucked up, and Vinai seems like he's going to be in the driving seat for a long time. Yeah, are you guys concerned about Vinai at all, given that he's, well, first an ex-Gooner, and number two, that does he really feel like the guy to take us forward here?
You just said it, ex-Gooner. I mean, offline last week we joked about that. You said, "What do you think Vinai would be doing?" And I said he's probably running back to Arsenal, saying, "Job done."
Inside job, yeah.
I don't trust any ex-Gooner. Sorry.
For me, I think he's a professional guy. He's going to do the job that is put in front of him. Is he an inspired leader of a football club? I don't know. I mean, he wasn't actually in charge of bringing Arteta in at Arsenal, but he was in charge of keeping him there. He had several opportunities to fire him when they were doing badly and decided not to. And I get the feeling that he may well feel that his career was built upon being patient and having a calm head when others around him were making bad decisions, and maybe he can do exactly the same thing with Thomas Frank. But I just don't see it.
But Levy was assuming, I mean, I'm assuming that Levy knew that he was going to be working with Vinai for some time. So he would have got somebody in who's malleable, more of a number two than the number one. And right now we have a number two working for us at the top, the number one. In Marcel gets that one. Who does number two work for? Nobody apparently. Nobody. And I saw this great little clip of a fan chasing what's her name, Lewis,
Vivian.
Vivian Lewis through the VIP area, just accosting her, and just like, get out of our club.
Oh,
You know,
really?
you see
Yeah.
it?
No, I've not seen that. Can you send it to me?
I'll
I'd
try
like
and
to see
find
that.
it again.
Yeah.
I've heard about it. I've not seen it.
But yeah, she's like, I don't know what to do in this situation because what the fuck would they do? These guys aren't seasoned business people. They're the sons and daughters of of a very, very good businessman, of course. Maybe slightly corrupt, but you know, somebody who's done very well. And they're like, please, daddy, please, can we keep it? And it's like, sure, you know, you have it for a while, you know, get it off my back. Um, I just can't see. Who's at the wheel here? Who's driving this fucking thing? I'm so concerned, so far beyond Frank at this point. You know, if Vinai knew for a second how toxic this situation has got at a fan level, Frank would have gone weeks, if not months ago. And the fact that he hasn't optically fired him already is not a good sign. I mean, anybody is better than this guy. You know.
Taking on board what you're saying about Vinai at Arsenal backing Arteta for the long term, etc., and that's the way he does things. The difference there was that although Arsenal were playing some pretty crap football at times, they were not in a downward spiral towards relegation. You know,
No, they look like they're in a downward spiral towards mid-table, and that was about as bad as it got.
exactly.
Yeah, and they won the FA Cup, you know.
They won the FA Cup
season.
fairly early on, yeah.
So
in his time there.
that gives them a bit of credit. Well, doesn't always give you credit if you win a cup, but
It doesn't give you enough as far as I'm concerned, certainly. Yeah. Can we at least try and look at some of the positives now? I mean, let's save it. Let's fingers crossed. Let's say that Thomas Frank is gone. What does the next manager have to work with? What are the strengths? What are the positives? You know, Austin brought it up earlier. Let's start with a young Archie Gray. I think he's a positively good midfielder who's probably the best player in that first half for us until he went off injured.
I think we've got a number of players that are better than they appear at the moment. I think we're being mismanaged.
Yeah,
and we've got Berrival and Gray, who I think we should build a team around because they're both superb. I'm not as optimistic about Mikey Moore. I've watched him a couple of times in Scotland, and he gets bullied. Don't think he's going to make it. But there are some good players in that squad, for Christ's sake. I mean, Bentancur looks a Rolls Royce when we bought him. Kulusevski, Madison, Solanke. We have got some good players. I just don't think they're being asked to play in the right way. We see no patterns of play.
Madison and Solanke. Solanke's played 20 minutes for us this season, so it's difficult to really say how he would fit into a Thomas Frank side or how he'll do for the next manager because still need to get him fit and raring to go. Really, Madison's going to be out for the season. We have no idea when Kulusevski's going to get back. You know, if we're looking at the positives, for me, the positives are Pat Matasar, Lucas Berrival, Archie Gray, Vuskovic next season. We've got world-class defenders. You know, Pedro Porro admittedly goes from being slightly worrying at the back to one of the best right backs in the league in the same game. You know, we've got Odobert, who actually seems to be coming into himself a little bit. Tell, who's got amazing mentality, and David's shaking his head. David
no
disagrees.
way. Yeah, I agree with everything. Like from the back line into some of the young midfielders that have some that have potential, but the front players, it's just a crock of shit. I'm sorry, but you know, like people used to call, Posh Spice. I remember people used to call her, actually, no, comparatively Posh Spice. That's like Tell yesterday when people were upset he got subbed. He was only comparatively better than the others. He was shit. Odobert, Tell, Xavi.
The only time Odobert went past anyone was going off at half time.
Exactly, yeah.
I still believe that every single one of these players is better than we've seen.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Far.
Oh, it might be better, yeah.
every single one of these players will improve the moment we have a manager who is willing to play on the front foot. Because at the moment we're asking players to be solid and defensive instead of actually how are we going to hurt the opposition. I mean, we heard this earlier in the season, you know, rumblings coming out from the club that all the players were upset that most of their focus was on how they could restrict the opposition from having shots and not how they're going to get shots themselves. Our forward play has been absolutely abysmal, and that's not just down to the players. It's obviously partly down to the players, but when they've actually kind of thrown out the rule book, they've actually done okay and they've improved. But for me, it's down to the manager. The manager has mismanaged this club to an extent where we've forgotten how to attack, and we've forgotten how to put together moves that actually end up in shots on target.
I think you can say like that someone coming in, he's going to be working with a good back line and some high potential, perhaps even very good midfielders like Conor Gallagher as well. Yeah. But you can't say that he's coming in working with a good front line. You can't. I mean, they might be better than they're showing. That's not saying much, but they're not good. They're not. They're second rate. They're not. They're mid-table at best.
They're better than Nkudu. Let's put it that way. So
I'm not convinced. I've not seen anything that makes me think that they're better than Nkudu.
Ah, dearie me. Anyone else got some positives they'd want to kick out there?
Well, we talk about the future. I think Dortmund is going to be an interesting one, given the team that we're going to have to select. Given all
I have
injuries,
a list. I have a list.
Sorry?
I have a list of players that are suspended, unavailable, or unregistered. So
Exactly.
Van der Ven is suspended. Davis
we have no
is out.
choice but to play some youngsters, do we?
Yeah, we do have a choice. It's going to be tight. It's going to be very tight. Van der Ven suspended. Davis is out. Solanke or Tell, one of those two can play, but we have to make our mind up now because we need to get the decision in 24 hours before the game. Madison is out. Kulusevski is out. Basuma is not selected. Kudus is out. Richarlison is out. Bentancur is out. Sarr is currently sat on the bench in the African Cup of Nations, which is going to extra time.
No, apparently they're not sat on the bench. They've walked off the pitch.
What?
Yes, it's all kicking off in the final in the 100th minute. The Senegal players have been told to leave the pitch because of misrefereeing, and it's all kicking off there at the moment. Stop press, just
of Africa.
Why didn't we do that?
Yeah, we should have done. No, that's not good. This is not a good look for African football.
But it was coming. It was coming. I mean, it's been very clear that the referees in the AFCON have been instructed to let North African teams get into the final. It's completely ridiculous, the decisions that have gone for Algeria, Egypt, and Morocco.
The referee's given a penalty to Morocco in the 100th minute, and pretty much everyone apart from Sadio Mane has walked off the pitch.
Exactly. Just after disallowing, I think, a Senegal goal.
He's good. Then Pat Matasar's going to come back in a great frame of mind from this, isn't he? Pat Matasar might be able to make it if he gets on a plane tomorrow and is fit. Gray is out. Palhinha is a doubt. Xavi is a doubt. Gallagher is unregistered. Dragusin is unregistered. I mean, that is a horrible list of injuries and unavailable players. I looked at it earlier. I've gone for a lineup with Vic, Porro, Romero, Danso, and Spence. And then the difficult decisions: Berival, who is not full fitness himself, and then Palhinha if he's fit, and Xavi if he's fit. If not, you're looking at Callum Olasese and Luca Williams-Barnett, Odobert, Tell, and Randa Kalamoani.
Isn't Gallagher eligible?
No, you can't make a change until the end of the league round, at which point we would be able to bring him in as Brennan Johnson's replacement. If he hasn't played for Atletico Madrid already in the Champions League. I'm not sure. I'm
pretty sure he has.
I'm sure he has, yeah.
Well, there we go.
So that's horrible.
Yeah.
And we've got two games. We've got Eintracht Frankfurt after that as well to play, and they're not as difficult as they were last season. We're not as good as we were last season either.
You would have thought at this point we would have brought a massive, or at least be linked with a huge left winger. or a right winger at the same time. Like you would have thought at this point, if I mean there must be so much chaos going on at board level in this in this club. I really hope this whole Frank thing doesn't, and that may be another reason why they're just sort of winding this down towards the end of the transfer window, is because it sort of deflects from the fact that we haven't actually signed any players yet. We haven't really talked about the transfer window, and we're right in the middle of one that really if anybody needed a transfer window, we did. You know,
Yeah.
and if we just have all this money available, you know, what's going on? What's going on?
So there you go, everybody. You heard it first from Charlie Bewley. We need a massive left winger. So that's Adama Traore is bound to come in now.
So he still can't play against Dortmund.
He still can't play against Dortmund. No. Oh no, what's going on in this world? Oh no, this is such. I don't know. I genuinely think we're at the end of a difficult period, and
I don't know if we're at the end of it. Why do you think we're at the end of a difficult period? We're in the middle of a difficult period. I don't see any.
No. Thomas Frank is gone. I'm sure of it. I can't see him being here after. If maybe he's here for Dortmund, but he's not here afterwards. You know, we can't see him being in charge for the Burnley game, because I mean, what are we gonna do? We're gonna drop points against every single side in the bottom 5. Is that what we're aiming to do this season?
It was quite lucky, actually. One good piece of news. Actually, one positive thing is that we keep dropping points against teams that are below us. But pretty soon there's going to be less and less teams below us. So we should be dropping less and less points.
Of your factor knowledge, logic, David.
There you go.
We're currently in the 90 plus 24th minute in the African Cup of Nations. The penalty's about to be taken. So we'll see how that goes.
Absolute shout. It's really sad. I'm quite sad.
And some people say that African football is in an absolute basket case. Oh, they've not looked at Tottenham to see what's going on. Oh, dearie me.
Yeah, one positive thing is I genuinely believe that in the complete absence of Tottenham Hotspur on the pitch right now, we will get our Spurs back. We one way or another, we will get our Tottenham back. I'm just praying there's somebody who gets the club at the top level, who recognizes like what this club's all about. Because I don't think you have to do too much, you know, really to get the crowd on your side, and from there, just as Poch showed, you know, just you know, a bit of mutual love and a bit of you know, recognition of all these slogans that are emblazoned all over our spaceship of a stadium. I think that, you know, I genuinely believe that we will come back. And especially now Daniel Levy's gone.
So the thing that kind of works for me is they know that, you know, the Lewis family may be looking for a way out. They should be looking for a way out. They should be looking for a sale, right? If they're not absolutely diehard Tottenham fans, they've got to be looking to make some money on this. The only way you're going to make money on this is, oh my God,
they missed the penalty.
Missed the penalty. Oh, Jesus, it's going to go to extra time. Right, so the only way that the Lewis family can make money on this is by turning this around. The only way they're going to turn this around is by making an absolute humdinger of a statement, and to do that you've got to spend some cash. You've got to make something of this, you know, sounds ear, and to do that you've got to bring in someone who's damn good. You've got to spend some money. You've got to risk some things, and you know, to dare is to fucking do.
But their way of making statements to this club are saying that we're going to give you 100 million to improve your playing squad. You know, that's their version of coming out and saying, we're here, we're Tottenham, you know, to dare is to do, let's go. We haven't even spent it. You know,
they've said there's 150 million there to be spent. Now, you know, I talked about this before with other people. That could be 5 first installments of 30 million. That's 5 good players we could buy in. Yes, it commits us to long-term spending, but damn well it should. The game's going to extra time.
Yeah, they try to Panenka.
Tried to Panenka, and the goalkeeper just stood there.
All right, it's great. Love Africa.
Oh wow, what a
Insanity.
fantastic! I wish I was watching.
Yeah, I wish I was watching that
was
too.
watching.
Yeah, I'm really regretting not watching that.
Oh dear me. So yeah, I think I don't see how this can continue in its current state. I don't see how Thomas Frank can stay on, and I don't see how this club can actually be worth more than it is unless you actually try to do something now, and that means spending money and bringing someone in that's going to make a difference.
There's
And
an
that's where
article
we are.
on news now that says the Palace are going to look at him if they lose Glasner at the end of the season.
They should. That would be the perfect move for him and for them, because that is I've talked about fits before. The Palace squad is built and set up to play football without the ball. Right? They want to play chaos ball. They want to play football without the ball. And there's only one manager who does well with less possession than Thomas Frank, and that's Oliver Glasner. So, he should absolutely go there, and he'll probably do really well.
That's on the news. I love that they're recruiting our manager, who is as good as dead, de facto gone. I love that.
I was wondering early on today whether we could have the world's first player/manager swap. So they can have Thomas Frank, and we'll even send them Radu Dragusin along with it to replace Mark Gahey, who's going. And in return, they can send us Adam Wharton. That would be a nice little fillip for us. I mean, they're selling everybody else who's any good, so why not?
Yeah, but right now, as Charlie said, we're what is the date today? The 18th of January. We're a long way into the transfer window. We're net zero. We've got no right winger. We haven't got a competent left winger. We haven't really got a striker, and apparently we got money. If in February when we get into a relegation fight, which we will, it's going to be too late to reinforce this squad. We need to reinforce it now.
Absolutely.
And I don't see it happening.
14 days to do it.
So I know I'm being a broken record, but we need to get rid of Langer and bring someone in that can build a squad, because he's sitting there going, don't know what to do.
I don't know about that. I mean, he's always done his best work in the shadows, in no one actually knowing what he's doing. He's brought in reasonably decent players. Dragusin, not great. Timo Werner, definitely a poor choice. But beyond that, he's actually, Danso was a player that he brought in. Berraval, Archie Gray, all of those guys were players that he brought to the club. So I think he's got a good eye for a player. I think he's got the capability of doing it, but we're never going to hear about it in the press. That's a parity.
No, we'll hear about it when we start scoring goals. Which we're not.
Let's hope we score goals.
That's how good
Let's hope we score goals. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm not going to go on about it anymore.
Okay. All right. Before we end this, has anybody else got anything positive, negative to say? Whatever you want to say, get it out right now. No. This is your chance. Austin's right there. No, fuck no. I've got nothing.
Well, we can't choose the management. We can't choose the hierarchy. We've got no say in the whole thing. We've had our say on the football, and it's shit. So I've finished. Until next time.
All right. Until next time. Next time will be a Sunday, the 25th of January. That we'll be talking the Burnley game. We'll be talking the Borussia Dortmund game, and we'll see how that goes. Any final words from anyone before we leave? We're just going to get together and say, "Come on, you Spurs."
Well, we're not going to hear from Ashley. He's got his microphone turned off.
He does. All right, guys. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you all next time.
Thanks, you. Thanks for hosting.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
He was CADS chat shit. To the left and the right, we're taking a hit, so you know it's true. Hear the banter ignite. Raise your voice loud, shout it out tonight. For CADS chat shit, we'll sing it again with a smile and a grin. Oh, here's to the boys, let's make it a trend with a wink and a nudge. Let the fun never end.